So today we're going to talk about fear in your language studies, but not just fear in general, because there's a lot of fears that we have as language learners. We're diving specifically into the fear of practicing the language that you're learning with other people. I know. I'm an introvert. I'm not shy, but I'm an introvert. I get it. Peopling is hard. You lose energy from talking with other people. It is difficult. Every conversation means you need 4 to 5 business days to recover. I understand. But there are ways that you can do this strategically, whether you're an introvert or not, and I'm going to share them with you. So, if this is the first time that you're meeting me, my name is Bronte. Welcome back to my channel, where I talk about all things multiple languages, polyglot-esque topics, all to help you go from frustrated to fluent in multiple languages. I am a language coach, and I am here to help you. Now, let's dive right in. One of the questions that I got inside of Fluency Mastery Lab was specifically about how to practice speaking with a friend. Now, this is something that I understand personally on many different levels, and they shared something that immediately resonated with me, which I loved. They said, I have a friend who speaks one of the languages that I'm learning. They are willing and open to practicing with me, to helping me learn and improve. I am the reason we are not studying and practicing together. I get that because that was me with French for a very long time. And even when I was practicing French with my friend, I was like, please don't judge me. I'm going to butcher your native language, but I'm trying. So when I got this question, I was like, oh, I have strategies and tips for you because I had to go through this and figure out how to build my confidence and practice with a friend who was so willing. Because I think one of the challenges that we face is struggling to find someone who's willing to practice with us. And then when we come across an opportunity where someone's actually willing to practice the language that we're learning with us, we're like, oh, wait, no, maybe not. I don't know anymore. I wasn't really asking. The universe, I wasn't really asking. Take it back. No, we're not going to have the universe take that back. And I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's dive in. So the first thing I want to do, and this is kind of how it goes in my coaching sessions, is I really just want to validate your feelings about this. It is okay to feel nervous. It is okay to feel embarrassed. It is okay to feel shy about speaking the language that you're learning. Here's the thing when it comes to learning multiple languages, I like to repeat over and over again because I'm like, I will make sure that everyone who hears this knows this very well. That when we're using our native language, we give ourselves more grace and space to make mistakes, to fail, to forget words, to make up words. Like I make up words all the time in my native language of English. And I know several people who do. We give ourselves a lot more grace and space to do these things. But then as soon as we're learning a new language, we feel like we have to go to 100. We have to be perfect because we're adult. But the reality is, and I made this comparison in a couple other videos, and I feel like it just really ties it all together. So if you're not a gamer, sorry, but go with me on this. When we dive into a new game, it's the genre that we really love, but we have not played this specific game before. You are coming in with the knowledge and experience of those other games you've played, but the game starts you from the beginning. It starts you from 0%. Your character has bare bones clothes, no weapons, no resources, nothing. You're starting from nothing. And you have to work hard and grind and build up the skills, abilities, and resources to do the things that you want in the languages you're learning. And so in that same way, when we're learning a new language, you might have lots of experience with other languages. You might have gotten yourself to fluency in one or multiple. You might have even just said like, hey, maybe I've never learned a language before, but I can speak my native language. I can use it in the best way possible. That means nothing. All this means is that you have the ability to do it again. That should give you the confidence to say, if I could do it once, I can do it again. But other than that, you're starting from zero and that's okay. And so feeling nervous about practicing with someone else, feeling nervous, scared, uncomfortable about speaking either out loud or in text with another person is completely valid because most of us don't want to sound like a toddler. We don't want to sound like a 3-year-old. We want to sound like we do in our native language when we're talking. But that takes time. You don't start from there. Give yourself the kindness to say it is okay to sound like a child for 6 months in this language. It's okay to do that for a year or a couple years, depending on how long you've been stuck at this stage. It is okay. And it is also okay to hold off on practicing with another person. I think too many people put pressure on themselves to immediately start speaking out loud or writing with another person simply because someone else said to. And that's not what works best for you. That kind of pressure actually hinders your progress rather than helps it. For some people, it does help them. You got to know what works best for you. So, first, honor where you are right now and the feelings that are coming up for you. It's okay. It really is. Next, and this is the biggest strategy that I share. The biggest tip that I have for you if you're trying to practice a language and you're not quite ready yet to practice with another person is to build your confidence through self-practice. Practice with yourself. Write things down to practice your writing and that recall, so the ability to pull the information out when you need it. Write it down. If you're practicing speaking, you don't need another person in the room. You can literally pull your phone out and record yourself. Like I am recording myself right now for this video. You could be on camera and just start talking in the language that you're trying to practice. If you want to actually speak the language, just practice. Give yourself scenarios when you're making lunch or dinner. Pretend you're on a cooking show when you're cleaning up your room. Explain your process. Like talk about why you're doing, like any opportunity is an opportunity for you to practice. You don't have to have someone else there. And if you're worried about saying the right things and, creating good sentences, then write it down or record it so you can look back at it rather than just writing it down in a throwaway note that you're never going to look at again. Write it in a notebook that you're going to review and give yourself a separate time to go back to it and evaluate, or maybe have a friend evaluate it for you. Record yourself speaking out loud and then listen back to it. Yeah, you're probably going to cringe at your voice. You're going to cringe at how you said things. Most of us tend to do that, but it's okay. Record yourself, and then you start to build up a library of all of the evidence of you practicing, actively studying, actively putting in the work so that you can build not just your recognition skills, but your recall skills. Recall is being able to pull the information out when you need it, and recognition is being able to understand it when you see it or when you hear it. And so if you remember nothing else, if you take nothing else away from this video, I want you to remember that you can start with practicing solo until you have the confidence to practice with another person. It doesn't matter if it's a safe person for you. It doesn't matter if it's your best friend. It doesn't matter if it's a close person, family member that is like, I am ready and willing. And you know that they're not going to judge you harshly. You know that they're not going to, break down your ego and self-esteem. But you just in your hearts of heart can't do it yet. That's okay. Start from the self-practice and then build on from there. Do the self-practice of writing things down, recording yourself, and then share it with them and say like, give me the feedback, but not immediately. Write it down or record your own version of it. So you can look at it on your own time when you feel ready to do that. And then the final thing, and this is kind of a given, but I just want to make sure to say, is make sure you're finding supportive friends and when I say support, I also mean, and this goes along with like finding language exchanges, you want to define what kind of support you're looking for, because I think some people dive into getting support from another person in their language studies and don't really know what kind of support they need. Are you looking for someone to correct you every time you make a mistake? Be very clear about that. Are you looking for someone to only correct the glaring mistakes in the moment? Or are you looking for someone to model the correction versus saying, this is the right way to do it? Are you looking for someone to ignore all the mistakes and just keep the conversation going so you can build your confidence in articulating yourself? And there's so many other things outside of that as well. So what kind of support are you looking for? Define that very clearly. I would take a moment to think about, write down, or say out loud, record yourself, because it depends on how you process best. When you are ready to practice with another person, what kind of feedback do you want to receive from them? What feels like good feedback and what feels like bad feedback? And how can we address that or articulate that to someone else so that they can give you what you need? If it's a language exchange and not just a friend, you have to also think about the reverse, because I think some people forget that as well. What are you willing to do to help someone else learn the languages that you know? What are the ways that you are comfortable and confident giving feedback in? Because in a language exchange, it's not just about you. It's also about the other person. But again, when you get there and you're comfortable and confident practicing with someone else, until then, self-practice, record yourself, write it down. You've got this. If you really liked this video and the answer that I gave to the question around practicing with another person, these are the same questions I get asked inside of Fluency Mastery Lab. And depending on the format of the questions, because we have multiple ways for people to get their questions answered and to get coaching support from me, A lot of times in the coaching thread, that is a little asynchronous, it's not live. Questions get answered within 48 hours. They are in usually video formats similar to this. So if you want your questions answered in depth, deep dive, personal to you based on what I know about your language learning, because you've shared it with me, and you want the ability to get guidance on going from frustrated to fluent in multiple languages, then you definitely want to check out Fluency Mastery Lab. And I'm going to share all the details with you in the description. So I'll see you around. Also, check out the playlist. I have tons of playlists on learning languages, motivational content, how to get started from square one, creating your schedules and study plan, all the things, my favorite strategies. Check those out as well on my channel, and I will see you around in the next video. Bye.